Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'll teach you 3 different playstyle adjustments to help you grind those ranks out just a bit easier. I'll be explaining what each playstyle is, who it's going to help, and how to do it. And remember, if you do enjoy this content, hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video. But with that being said, let's begin. A lot of you are probably thinking, how can changing my playstyle help me rank up faster? Well, I think the biggest problem is that a lot of people who are struggling in game or are really just even looking at this video for advice probably don't have a set playstyle in their head when they're playing. So that's already a pretty big problem. Whether you're an opper, a support player, an entry-fragger, or a shot caller, there should be some role that you're assuming when you join these games. And remember, that role can change throughout the game, depending on what weapons you have or just what situation you're in general. So what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to help, is the people who find themselves in situations where there's a lot of baiting, where there's teammates who are not committing, and sort of the games where everyone just kind of gathers up in mid and doesn't do anything. That's the playstyle I'm looking to correct, and that's the playstyle you see a lot at lower ranks. So each of these 3 playstyle adjustments are things that are aimed at increasing your individual value as a player each round you play in, thus giving you a much better chance at not only winning, but also just doing better and ranking up in general. Now, the first playstyle we're going to be talking about is called controlled aggression, or really, it's most likely known as entry-fragging. So what is it? Well, controlled aggression, or entry-fragging, it's all about taking the lead and sort of assuming that position as the first one to go in. You don't need to be the shot caller or like the leader of the team to do this, but you do need to be someone who is willing to die to sort of win the game. So it requires kind of being a selfless player, but it can also result in some of the best gameplay experiences you're gonna find because of the big plays you make. So essentially what controlled aggression is all about is taking fights with some sort of control, right? There is being too careless. That is definitely a possibility. So you want to control that. And the best way to control that is by playing with your teammates. So entry-fragging as a whole is all about having teammates coming with you to trade your kills and to trade your deaths. It's really, really important that the entry-fragger is supported by the team. So who is this for, right? Who would work well in this role that already isn't in it? Well, I think it really comes down to one thing, particularly for this type of a role, and that would be people with good aim for their rank. So sometimes people can be in ranks lower than where they deserve or where they probably should be, and a lot of times it's because they are maybe newer to the game. They're still learning some of the other aspects, but their aim is probably pretty good from other games. If you're one of these people, and there's a lot of them because of how new Valorant is right now, you probably could benefit greatly from assuming the role of an entry-fragger. It's one thing to trade 1-for-1 when you entry, but it's another thing if you trade and suddenly you're going 1-for-0 and you're starting to just kill people without dying. Because a lot of the times what happens with entry-fraggers, and with me in particular, is that when I go into entry-frag, I actually get killed, but my teammates end up killing the guy that killed me, so it's a 1-for-1 trade. But with good aim at the lower ranks, you're often putting yourself at a 5v4 advantage, which is huge when you're on attack. Which is obviously where you'd be entry-fragging. So if this sounds like something that maybe you'd be interested in, I would highly recommend trying it out. So if you're probably wondering now, okay, well, how can I entry-frag? Like, what do you suggest? So first of all, you're going to want to take the start of the rounds pretty slow. It's really important when you're entry-fragging that you are not just going at an all-out rush, because a lot of the times what ends up happening is you overcommit or you separate from your team. So take things a little slow in the beginning. Next, you're going to want to identify a position on the map, a site, or a specific area that you want to take a gunfight in, and before you do it, just make sure your teammates are close to you. Then, before you peek the corner and go for these fights, communicate with your team your intentions. Make sure they know to trade your death if you end up dying. So at this point, you're good to clear the angles. You're good to start moving in. Your team should follow suit. And at that point, you know that if you die, at least your teammate is going to be able to get 1 kill to bring the game back to an even playing field. That is what entry fragging is, and the reason this ranks you up faster is because now, instead of sitting in mid doing nothing, at least you're making an opening on a site or in an area, taking control of the map. This is a huge role, and if you get good at it, you can go way up in the ranks by entry fragging. Now, the second playstyle revolves around flashes, or blinds in this case. I call it like the flash peeker. It's really just like sort of a solo queuer method of ranking up. And I mean, you know, everyone wants to rank up, right? But one of the things is you have to start getting some kills in your game. You can only do so much by using your abilities. Eventually, you gotta start working some magic with those guns too, and that's where flash peeking becomes one of the easiest solutions to players who struggle to win fights in general. Even with Peeker's advantage, even when catching players off guard. This still happens to me, by the way. Like, don't think because I place Diamond or something that I'm somehow immune to this. I still lose gunfights when I peek first because sometimes my aim isn't perfect. But guess what? That's why you play someone with a flash. That's why you play someone with a blind, because when you turn those corners, you can make sure that they have no visibility, and you sort of can take those fights with a little more confidence. So of course, flash peeking really revolves around Phoenix, Reyna, and Breach, Omen to a lesser degree. Now, one other thing I want to say about flash peeking is that you can utilize your flashes for your teammates as well. So it's one of those things where not only is it helping you as a solo queuer, or maybe just someone who wants to use flashes and take these fights, but you also add a pretty nice utility for your team, especially if they're maybe opping or something. You can set up some great positions with them, specifically with Reyna. I found that Reyna pairs well with an opper on your team by throwing the orb, by throwing her leer, and, you know, kind of doing that thing. So who can benefit from this? Well, I think that it's really important, and it's a good option for players who feel like they've been kind of trapped by their players' abilities. Maybe you feel like you have pretty good aim. Maybe you feel like you get the game, you get the map, the flow of things, but you're still not ranking up the way you want to. I would suggest switching over to someone like Phoenix or even Reyna in this case. If you like to support a little more, maybe Breach. So if you're playing someone like a Sova or maybe even a Sage, I would really consider switching over to someone with a flash and just see if it changes the way your playstyle feels, if it changes the amount of gunfights you're winning. So next you're probably thinking, okay, now what's the best way to take advantage of this? Well, I think first of all, you could start just straight up by helping your team. Call out flashes for them. If someone's gonna peek a site, peek a corner, whatever it may be, maybe it's your Entry-Fragger. Flash for them. Help these guys out. Make sure they're getting into places with the enemy team blind. And if you find yourself in a more aggressive position, maybe you're just in general, you're a more aggressive player. That happens to me. I'm a very aggressive player, but I play Brimstone, so I don't have flashes. So I have to rely on my smokes and my aim to be able to win these fights. However, as an aggressive player, if you find yourself playing spots like mid, where there's a lot of aggression, especially early game on most maps, that's a really great opportunity to start using your flashes. If you flash, you can have a player peek with you from an opposite angle. There's some really great opportunities there if you're a mid player, and I really like playing mid with someone who has a flash, or just in general, if I'm playing aggressive, I like having flashes. So finally, I will say support option. Obviously, in my opinion, is going to be Breach here. However, Reyna, her leer is kind of crazy, right? Because you can put it in so many different positions. If you can put it in the ground, you can put it into walls, you can put it up high, down low, you can put it kind of away from you. One of the great things about the leer is that if you put it away from you and it still blinds the enemy, they can't see and they have to shoot it. So what you can do is you can put it pretty far away from you. They have to swing their crosshair all the way over there. You peek them, their crosshair is nowhere near you, you get a free kill. And now the reason this sort of play style and switching over to someone with flashes is so important for ranking up if you feel like you're just not ranking up fast, is because it's going to allow you to start just getting free kills. I know it sounds stupid because really, like, there is no free kill, but you use just that little bit of utility. The enemy has no idea what's going on. You take your kill, you fall back, and now you're playing a 5v4. You can play a little slower, and you still probably have one flash left to use in case they rush you. It's so important, and if you find like you're stuck and you're not winning the 1v1s you want to, highly recommend playing someone with a flash. All right, guys, next up we have the Exit Fragger. Getting Exit Frags is huge. The only problem is sometimes you get called a baiter for this, but really you're just playing smart. So what is exit fragging, right? Well, let's say you lose rounds in Valorant, right? We all lose rounds. No one's perfect. So if a round seems to be unwinnable, for example, I would say something like, if the entire enemy team is live, the bomb is planted, it's probably a good idea for you to try to save. However, what you can do instead of just saving is looking to kill people as they exit the bomb site, hence the name Exit Frags. By the way, frags obviously interchangeable with the word kill here. If you didn't know what I was saying the whole time, I'm sorry. So when I talk about Exit Frags, I'm talking about killing people as they're leaving a bomb site or trying to get to safety because they're trying to escape that explosion zone. That is an Exit Frag. So why is this important? Exit frags are a way to get ahead in the economy. One of the big things that happens is that when you're in like a 1v5, you feel hopeless, right? You probably have less than like a 5% chance to win that. I mean, it really does not happen. You have to like almost ace the entire, you pretty much have to ace and defuse all within like 45 seconds. That's crazy. Instead, what you can do is you can look to hurt their economy. And the reason this really helps your team is because depending on how much money they had going in, they might not be able to full buy next round. And if they can't full buy, you might be able to catch some players in some really bad positions with really bad guns, depending on how your economy is working. So who can really benefit from this? Well, I think that there are people out there right now who kind of consider themselves to be heroes, right? The clutch gods and the people who think they can do it all. But on the flip side, I also think there's players who just run across the map and hide in a corner and just wait for the bomb to explode and for them to lose the round. That's also bad, right? You don't want to be overconfident, but you don't want to like just lack any confidence at all. You have to find that medium. So if you are one of those players, maybe you're always going for like 1v3s, 1v4s, 1v5s, or if you're one of the guys who just sits across the map in a corner praying that no one will find them, this is for you here. So how do you get exit frags? Well, first and foremost, you have to make sure you're safe. You don't want to die any more than you want to get kills. I would actually say dying sometimes is even worse. Even if you get like 2 kills, it's really important you're staying alive to keep your gun. So what's really important here is that you know all of the boundaries for these bomb sites and the explosions. Then you want to stay silent. Really, really important to make your presence completely unknown. You want to force these people to check every single angle and see if you're there. Third, you want to be in an area where you're going to get maybe 1 or 2 people. You don't want to be fighting the full team. If you hear like a herd of people coming, you might want to just run. You have to be smart about this because like I said, you don't want to die. So if some sort of position is, if a path is like blocked off by a sage wall, maybe consider repositioning yourself, get a little further back and just make sure you're only fighting 1 or 2 people at a time. You never want to peek 2 attackers at once when you're going for exit frags. After that, your goal is kind of just to get 1 or 2 kills. Once you get 1 or 2 kills, you run, you stay alive, you keep your gun, you destroy their economy, and congratulations, you have just probably won your team the next 1 or 2 rounds, depending on how big their economy was stacked up before that. Now, the reason that this helps ranking up so much, first of all, it's going to boost your score big time. You're going to have a ton more kills each game, and as we know, individual performance does matter. You can rank up on losses, you can gain MMR on losses. It's really, really important you understand that. But second of all, the economy is huge, and I can't believe I haven't made a video about it. I probably should, but damaging the enemy economy is really, really big. If you take out 2 players and they can't buy, you keep your gun so you can buy, you get your win, you get your loss bonus, you buy your teammate a gun, you might actually have the advantage even after losing the round. It's really important to keep these things in the mind. So, as we went over in this video, we have the controlled aggression for the entry-fraggers, we have a flash peeker, which is kind of like a more solo queue style play, and then we have the exit-fragger. Each of these play styles, you can use them, you could do all of these things in one game and kind of mush it all in together into one thing. It's totally up to you what you choose to do, but these are some of the best ways, the best play styles to rank up in Valorant. It's part of the reason why I am going to be such a high rank, I hope. But in general, it's why people get to high ranks, is because they know how to do this stuff. So take it slow, maybe do 1 at a time, learn each role, combine them together. I think you guys are really, really, really going to do well if you listen to what I said in this video. With that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, like button, leave a comment, let me know what you want to see next. More videos coming soon, guys. Take it easy, and peace.